Hey dudes, welcome back to the PrinnyCastRPG project using RPG Maker VX Ace. Today's going to be some more basic stuff because there's some stuff I glossed over and I don't know when's a good time to get into it. I've not done a whole lot of progress on here. I've done some pixel art, I've done a little extra work in preparations of things, but I'll make a long story short and say that there was a lot of issues going on this week that prevented me to doing a whole lot, But yeah, we'll get right into this. If you ever want to change your game title, this is where you would do it. So you can, whatever. We'll probably have a different game title by all said and done. And this is what's actually going to show in the Windows title bar. Not only up here, but I think it is also what shows in the intro screen too. So keep that in mind. We'll be changing a few of that stuff though. If you want to change your currency unit, Gil, Hell, whatever game that you're going to have it off of money, if you're having a more modern game, you can do something like that. So over here is if you want to start out with more than just the lead actor. I mean, we've got not a lot of characters to choose from here, but and this here is the music section, and most of this is stuff that you've probably already seen before. You've heard that song probably a lot, especially if you were already on this. So this is how you would change this. Yeah, I like that. We'll change it to that song. And your battle themes, and it's almost self-explanatory really, but we will be doing some scripting stuff later that's going to change some of how this works. We're not going to focus on this too much. And your sound effects are over here. We're probably going to add a lot of custom stuff. I don't know if I'll use the sound effects from Disgaea yet. I'm debating this. And even some of this is going to be changed too, like this, especially when it comes to the battle stuff. And over here we've got the intro screen, but we're going to change this up a little bit. Let's something Disgaea like. There you go. Let's throw some fire in front of it. Yeah, there you go. That's Disgaea for you. And you've got some extra stuff over here, and you can scroll over and it'll tell you what they do. Starts the game with the game player's transparency flag set to on. And this is the caterpillar. Yeah, that's what we call the caterpillar. So a lot of the older RPGs, instead of just having the main character and nobody else show up, they would have this little trail behind everybody else of the other characters in your party. And we might use that, I don't know. And the window color, if you want to adjust that a little bit, we won't mess with this too much because we're going to be using some custom stuff. And everybody knows about RPG vehicles, that when you get a certain point in the game that you need certain items to get you to areas you couldn't get to before, and vehicles are a good way to do that. And just like our currency unit up here, you can also change the terms of a lot of different stuff. All of this, no matter... You don't want to be too vague about it. You don't want to have attack be some word that you would not absolutely at all recognize. That can be problematic when you're learning a game. There's a lot of sci-fi-ish games that change up really basic stuff. I mean, it's one thing to call a mage something else, but when you're talking about your attack power, you want people to know what it is. We'll be changing these probably just for the sake of having a little customization, but most of this is going to be staying the same. And this down here even. This is not set in stone. For example, in the space opera I keep mentioning every now and then, this is not your ship's armor at all. It is your crew. And each of these were turned into positions of crew members, so like the helmsman and the pilot and the engineer and stuff like that. So there's ways of making a game a lot more interesting than just the standardized versions that you see all the time. And this over here is a lovely piece of work too. Most of it looks pretty self-explanatory, like you know what the weapon classes and armor classes and all that type of stuff is. And you pretty much know about the element types, especially if you've played just about any kind of game. So you have things where water would do more damage to a fire creature and so on and so forth. And that is exactly how that works. Here's the slime over here. He's got an element rate of 200%, which means changes the damage multiplier according to the specified element. The higher the value, the greater the weakness against the element. And I'm realizing that part of the window is being hidden off screen there. But so if it was 0%, this character would take no damage whatsoever from ice. However, 200%, of course, he's going to take double damage. And you can add more than one. And you can even add a whole new element if you want to. Let's go over here to terms. We'll change up the maximum to 12. That gives us 2 new slots. And we'll call it, I don't know, gelatin? Slime? I don't know. So we'll go back over here to enemies, add a new rate, and gelatin. He will take no damage from gelatin attacks. Meanwhile, he'll have an extra attack element. He'll have an extra attack element of gelatin. So he'll attack with gelatin and physical damage, both. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? And see, your weapons and armor also have that. So you could, if it had an anti-gelatin weapon, then you could have a whole new element and call it anti-gelatin or something, and put it in here. And likewise, you can add armors that, and say this thing is really good against gelatin. So it only takes half damage from gelatin attacks. There you go. That's how simple all that type of goodies work. And the armor type here can prevent certain classes from using certain armor types. You'll notice over here, the armor, you can set up the armor so they can only use certain types of weapons. Yeah, I think we pretty well covered all of this at this point. I don't think there's much more to say. I just canceled that out because there's no purpose in saving any of that. Always remember to hit OK or apply anytime you make changes, because there's a lot of times you may do something, a whole lot of stuff in here, and then go out and you'll have to cancel by mistake. Okay, maybe you don't, I do. But yeah, just a basic little catch-up thing before we get into some deeper stuff. We will get into this little thing right here very soon. This is heavy-duty stuff here. But for now, we'll see you all next time.